cool. All right, we are live. Appreciate y'all hopping on for part 3. Real quick intro. I'm wearing my TBT shirt. Wanted to shout out to my guy, Derek Wilson. I know he's from Alaska, but he lives here in San Antonio. They did win the TBT. He hasn't even made it home yet. My dude been vacation since. So when you get back, man, I need my gear. I just want to shout out to my guy for winning it. They did hit the championship last year, and this year they're able to take it home. So happy for him. We did added it earlier on our Facebook. What we're gonna kind of go over. The first thing we're gonna get into is the UIL new schedule, and I'm actually gonna throw it up for you guys to look. Myself, Lupe, and Ray, we did talk real briefly. I wanted a better understanding about it as well. So I'm gonna throw that up, and then we're gonna dive into this real quick. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put it on the comments, and I'll navigate through those. I'll let Lupe start, as he gave me a lot of information I was unaware of. So if you need this link, I can get it to you, but I think it would be good for parents to kind of understand what the schedule is going to look like as far as UIL and the amount of games, things that they can and cannot do. Lupe, go ahead, you take it away and add some knowledge to help understand it a little better.
Yeah, I think it came out, was it Tuesday, and I think everybody kind of got an uproar and kind of hit panic mode immediately when they saw it, because the first thing they took away was no tournaments and no scrimmages, right? So for here locally, you're talking about the South San tournament, which draws a lot of, statewide talent, the Northeast, North Side, San Antonio Independent School District. So, those tournaments are no longer going to be able to take place. And then the showcase event, which, the most glorified one is going to be Glenn's Hoop Fest, that last year attracted, I think, 12,000 fans to the American Airlines Arena, which was, I think a record for a high school game in a professional arena. So all those are theoretically, technically, by, I guess, label or gone. The tournaments for sure. Showcase is a little bit different. I've been on the phone with most of those event operators in the last 48 hours. And a lot of those events are going to still happen, if not all of them, right? So they've been fluid and kind of been able to maneuver through it. And what you're going to see is you're still going to get the same in-state matchups instead of having 4 games in one facility. However, they're going to be probably scattered throughout the city. So if you've got, a Lancaster going to play let's say, Judson High School, or, instead of them playing after Duncanville and Cedar Hill at Duncanville High School, those games will be played at different sites. So what still hasn't been determined, and it was pretty, it was very vague, I guess you can say, they said no showcases, no tournaments. What still has not been told to anybody is what exactly, what is showcase? How many games can you play in one facility and one site under one roof within a 24-hour period? And so, can we get an 8 o'clock game, a 12 o'clock game, a 4 o'clock, and then an 8 o'clock, instead of having, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8 games, you have 4 games, or 3 games only. How many games can you play under one roof within a 24-hour period? That's what the UIL hasn't come out and said. I know everyone's been fluid. There's, Jimmy Hicks is still going to have his event. Glenn is still going to have his event, from what I'm understanding. Last we spoke was yesterday. I know the Durant Hoop Fest, which is all around the country. One of the locations is in Dallas. They're still going to have theirs. Once again, it's not going to be all, as of right now, unless the rule changes, be held under one roof. But they'll still have the matchups that all the fans and the schools and the players want to have. They'll just be at neutral sites or at the home site of one of the particular teams.
Okay, Ray, you want to add anything to it?
Don't know much about it. It was eye-opening seeing Sandra Meadows 70 years canceled. Justin,
wow, 70 years. Wow.
70 years. Justin doesn't win state if they don't go out to the Sandra Meadows and the McDonald Invitationals and get that bump from those larger areas. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, sure is. I asked earlier, so what does that do for San Antonio teams that play tournaments heavy prior to district? So what does that do? Do they need to get creative? What are they going to have to do? Are they going to play, or are they just going to wait till district? I haven't talked to a few of my coaches' friends, but I'm just curious what you guys think on it.
I don't know if you've been on Twitter lately, but it's uncharacteristic for any head coach to come on Twitter and say, hey, I need a game on November 12th. There's Glenn calling me right now. It's funny. Hold on. Let me click this guy off. That's interesting. I mean, it's coaches within the last 48 hours have had to basically redo their schedule. They've had to redo their schedule in the last 48 hours, pick up games. Some districts aren't allowing schools to travel. Some might not let them stay overnight. And so you're having to be real creative, right? And it does, especially like you take like a Cole, for example, right? Because they have Vince there, right? So they've got to find particular matchups early on, to get him the competition he needs. And in order for them to try to simulate maybe running into a Houston or a Dallas team at the state tournament, if they get that far, they were scheduled to go play in some events, right? And now that's not going to happen for them, right? So that's tough. It's tough for a lot of schools, especially now. They did minimize the amount of games too. You're maximized only 27 games. District, I think, moved up a week, if I'm not mistaken, right? So district will start a little bit sooner than it would before. So it's just a lot of maneuvering and redoing schedules, and I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of open dates.
Kids in the gym now, Luke? Like Wagner, are they rolling, or any of your girls? What are they doing as far as? I think it got shut down, didn't it? Or they're not allowed to be in athletic and all that stuff. Yeah. So what's update on that?
I think it's September. I'm not sure. I haven't asked Austin, to be quite honest with you. I'm not sure when they're allowed to come back. They were in the gym last week, and I think they shut them down. So I'm not sure exactly when. I think it's probably September that they'll be allowed back in the gym at the high schools.
Okay, Ray, you heard the same, I'm guessing, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's the same. And just in regards to the girls, I think when you talk about being creative, you're going to end up with a lot of scrimmaging with guys, just like at the collegiate level. If, you're a Nisa Hastings over at Wagner and you got a JV team that's legit, you're trying to scrimmage with them as many times as possible to make up for that lack of games that you're going to have early.
That's a good point, Ray.
That is a good point. I hope some coaches are listening, because I wouldn't even think of that. That's something really good to do.
It's a real good point.
All right. Okay, let's get into our next topic. I know, Lupe, you can roll with this. I don't know what it is on the girls' side. I'm more of a Lupe. I know a little more on the boys, trying to get a little more educated on the girls. So it's been great to hear from you, Ray, as far as that. But so we're talking about lack of media, stronghold, statewide, the statewide push in the SA area. So we'll go there, and then we'll get into early offers. So go ahead, Luke, talk about that.
I think when it comes to media, I think Tim does a good job. I think Antonio, who else, Ward, I guess those are probably, you could say, if from any media, those would probably be the three media that most people are familiar with. I don't think we're bullish enough, right? And by bullish enough is, man, it's okay to put yourself out there a little bit like that, right? And I like those. I mean, trust me. I mean, I was texting with Tim back and forth earlier, and Antonio. And so I think if you look at what Dallas and Houston do, right? If they're going to say, this kid's number one in the state. I mean, Buff, and he is number one in the country, but for since he was a junior, he's saying Cade Cunningham, numero uno. That was kind of his tagline to him. He wasn't scared to say it. We've got a couple of kids in the city. You take a Langston Love. I've said it from day one, Mark. You coached him young. I thought he was one of the best, players in the state in that 2021 class. It almost took him to play on the shoe team to almost leave the city for everyone to kind of not be scared to put it out there. It's okay to say, man, I think Langston's Love's better than a particular kid in Houston. I think he's better than a particular kid in Dallas. Shit, he is. I mean, he's good, right? And it's okay to put that out there. I think, what also you'll see is a lot what Dallas and Houston do. If we go travel and our kids do well, they'll put something out there, but they're not going to say our kid did better than the other kid. They're not going to do that. They're not going to kill their own. We have a tendency, if an out-of-town kid comes in, the first thing we want to do is tweet about him. I mean, I get it. But if the local kid is better, you can't be scared to put that out there and say, man, I feel we have the best point guard in this particular class. I feel we have the best, small forward in this particular class, and put them out there. Of course, if you believe it and you've seen the other talent and you can't be scared to say it, you have to be somewhat bullish, right? If you look at Houston, right, and you look at Dallas, the voices of those cities are the media. They don't call how passionate and ask him about kids. They don't call an Aaron Harrison. They don't call a Von Zell and ask, they might ask about particular kids in their program, but they're not going to call and ask and give an unbiased opinion. They're going to call the media, and so the media has to be the voice. I feel for this city to become to the next step, the voice can't come from an AAU program. It can't be my voice. It can't be a Boo Man's voice. It can't be a Veer voice. It can't be a Ray Caldwell voice. It has to be a media voice, because they have to give an unbiased opinion of the talent here, but they can't be scared to say, we have national talent. We have statewide talent that's better than you have, and put it out there. You can't be scared to say it. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't. You can't just put out there the kid did well, he performed well. No, you can say, man, we feel we have the best this, we feel we have the best that. Because guess what, Mark? If you say it long enough and you say it enough, people will start to pay attention. You'd be full of shit sometimes, I'll be honest with you, but at least that kid's gonna get an extra look. It's like, man, let me get an extra look at this kid, instead of not even getting the look. And that's what you have a lot of. It's called the hype machine, guys. Houston and Dallas are the pros at it. At one point, I think it was somebody threw a stat out there that was like 20% of the kids in one particular major city here in Texas, when they went to a four-year university, they never stayed there. It was like less than 20%. It was always transferring. One of the larger metropolitan areas here in Texas. I'm not gonna say the city, but it's a fact, right? So what does that mean? It's a hype machine, right? I say this all the time. If you take a 6'7" kid, sight unseen, Dallas or San Antonio, who are you going to pick up? The Dallas kid, just because it's a hype machine. And I call it hype, but there's some substance behind the hype also. And there's sometimes some kids, at the end of the day, man, you want to be in the conversation to win every time. You want to be in the conversation to win every time. And that's just my feel is right now is I think that we need to be a little more bullish on the media side and not scared to put stuff out there. And not be scared to back it up. If the kid can play, now you can't just throw anything out there because they're going to pay attention to you. But if you can push a kid like a Langston, like a Jarrell, like a Vince, like a Trey White when he was here. I mean, Trey White was a top 30 kid in the country. Lived in San Antonio for a year. Did you know that, Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, many people probably didn't know that, though, because you're in tune to it. So you have a top 30 kid in the country in your city limits, man, you better be putting as much video about him, much hype about him. Maybe the kid doesn't want to leave. Maybe the kid, when Cornerstone decides not to come back with a national program, maybe he doesn't leave to California. Maybe he decides to stay because San Antonio's showing him love. But you had a top 30 kid in the country leave. Zach Clemens, leave. Langston Love, leave. And there's other reasons why they left, not just the media by no means, right? It's a whole other items. I'm just saying you have to become attractive to players to not want to leave and to want to come, and you get people's attention by being bullish. That's just my opinion.
And we've talked about this before. On the flip side, San Antonio is a highly sensitive city as well. Like the things that Houston and Dallas say, it's people don't take it very well, but that doesn't mean that we don't do it. I think that has to be changed. Have you talked to the three individuals? You talked about Ward, Littlefield, and Antonio. You've talked to them about this is how I feel you need, not tell them how to do their job, but we got to start to promote kids a little bit more, not soften what you're saying. Maybe I'm not saying overhype, but give them maybe recognition more they deserve.
Man, no, I mean, that's not my space to say that. Like I said, I have great relationships with all those guys. And I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong. Like that's not, I'm just saying me personally, I'd be more bullish. I'm a bully too, right? People say, I'd be more bullish on it. I'd put it in front of your face. I'd throw it in front of your face, right? The more you put it out there, then when the kid arrives in one of those major cities, they're going to take a second look at him. They're not going to immediately, if a San Antonio kid arrives in Houston or Dallas, they're already behind. The minute they get on that court, the kid from Dallas or Houston, in their eyes is already bet, no matter what. But if you create enough bullish push behind any particular kid, the first thing they want to do is like, shoot, I want to see the matchup from the top kid in Houston against the top kid in San Antonio. Let's bet that matchup right now, game one. That's what they'll do. They won't do that if you don't have no bullish push behind it. You're not going to get that matchup. You have to have relationships where you got to go ask for it. They're not going to give it to you. But if you push it more, then the first thing they want to say, let's see what this kid's about. All they're doing is hyping him up down there in San Antonio. Let's see what the hype's about. So there has to be some type of method behind it. So to answer your question, no, I mean, it's not my space to. It's not my place to be honest with you, man. Like I said, I'm not telling them, I'm not saying they're doing a bad job. Once again, I'm just saying in order for us to get over that hump, I think as a basketball community, it has to start with the media. The media has to be the driving force in the city. And then strong programs around the city have to be able to support those media outlets with players that can produce for them to push those players.
I totally agree. Okay, so Ray, let's slide you in. You can comment on the girls. I don't know if there's a media outlet in San Antonio that does the girls. I thought it was just you. Like you kind of run the girls in the city. And I've always said I feel like people in San Antonio allow kind of Ray to be that person. We got too many on the boys side that kind of waters it down. But Ray, tell us how it works on the girls and if there is media or how you guys go about it.
Well, I disagree with allow. I do what I do.
Well, okay, yeah.
So I mean, I disagree with Lupe to a certain extent, but I get it. I'm not on the guy's side. I like what old boy says in California, which is the left-hand layup challenge. Me looking at Sloan, me looking at even a guy like Alan Branch, an older guy, but when you talk to him, he's talking about discovering Jimmy Butler. You hear the wealth of knowledge. I don't know the guy side, and I respect him and Ward immensely. But the messenger matters. Lupe's a terrific businessman outside of hard work. He gives me a lot of advice financially because he's proven in that film, in that field, in that realm. I think, for instance, I had a guy, and I mentioned this briefly earlier or on our second one, talk about the best 2023 team in the city. And the best 2023 in the city never played their own age. So if we are empowering people just to give opinions that get us ridiculed and laughed at nationally, to me, all you're doing is hurting the city and the product. You're not the best 2023 in the city because the best 2023s don't play their own age group. So I don't agree with the media should be the push. I looked at something the other day from this prep, whatever, and you don't have Jalen Jackson and you don't have Gavino Ramos, yet people are tweeting because their son was named on this top 10 list. That's what you ask for when you ask for media to come here and they don't have the credentials, they don't have the resume, they don't have the respectability. I stand next to Sloan, I read Buff stuff. I can believe those guys because of the left-hand layup challenge. They have connections to college coaches. When I get a college coach telling me, who's this new media outlet on the girl side, telling me about this kid, now I'm in defensive mode going, that kid can't play for you. Why are you listening to that idiot who's trying to elbow some space into this realm, and all you're doing is making my job harder because he's selling you on an NAIA kid and you a high major because he got an NCAA certified scouting service. So I totally disagree that, first of all, I'm allowed, and I don't think the media push. I think things work well for Jordan Clarkson. I think things work well for Andre Robertson. They didn't have the media hype in the push. They bank accounts got it, though.
I'm torn on it. I agree with some of what Lupe's saying because how it works in Houston Dash, but I'm with Ray on this, Lupe. I feel like you have a lot of credibility in the city that your opinion could hold a lot more weight based on possibly the media that we have here. What do you think about that?
That's the problem. I think if you don't go through the city of Houston and get shit done without going through Jimmy Hicks, it's a fact. It's a fact. I mean, they're going to call Jimmy Hicks. They're not going to call anybody else. And so, I mean, I get what you're saying. I understand what Ray's saying. I just firmly believe to elevate ourselves to ever compete at the level of Houston and Dallas, we have to have a media outlet that coaches are calling and can hang their hat on. I understand what Ray's saying. I get what you're saying, Ray. I definitely do. I definitely understand that. It's not my place to say who's qualified, who's not qualified. I don't even want to get into those conversations.
Of course it is. Of
What's
course
that?
it is.
What's that?
Of course it is.
It is important.
It is. You cannot go sit on the board of directors the way you do with UA without the resume and the ability to be there. You weren't nominated for that position. Lupe has elbowed his way to the top of club basketball in the state of Texas because he's competent. His crew is competent. Not no one handing you a crown saying that you're designated. To me, we can't be designating these media dudes if they do not have the resume and first and foremost, the competency. I ain't talking about Ward. I ain't talking about Tim. I'm just making a statement on the girls' side. When I'm seeing these new guys come in here wanting to anoint their opinions as something that's valid, all they're doing is hurting the guy or girl side. And I don't think we're going to catch up with Dallas. I don't think we're going to catch up with Houston. They're too large. The focuses are too different. So until then, let's keep doing what we're doing. But I don't think that Austin is behind because of the lack of media attention. Because your platform, every time I look at a ranking, him, Vince, all these guys are moving up the charts. So to me, you're doing a damn good job with that.
I agree on both parts, but I understand what Lupe is saying as well. It's like, if you want to go through a kid or you want to do anything in Houston, you go immediately, you know who to go to. You got to go through Jimmy Hicks, right? I think that if you come to San Antonio and you want to find out, asking about kids, who do you go to? Do you just go to Lupe and Ray? Is that where we're at right now? And people will say, and I knew this when I was coaching my guys way back, is there's some bias because I'm a coach of my program. I run my program. So if people say, well, Lupe's only going to promote his hard work kids, Ray's only going to promote his SA finest girls. So is that where we're going, where we need a media outlet based on that there's no bias, and then you're just really in it for, you know, the entire kids in the city? Or because that's what will be the outside looking in. I'm telling you, I know you hear it. I hear it all the time. You're only going to care about your own kids.
It's human nature. It's human nature. I mean, what people don't realize is how often I talk to college coaches and tell them about kids in the city. It's what they don't realize. And I'm not going to tell everybody. It's just somebody called me on a kid, and I said, man, you know what? I don't have a kid that you know what, you need to go look at this kid, or Lou has a kid, or Mo has a kid. You know, I mean, they all have Mo and Lou, you know, just because I know those two that are on top of my head that have, you know, scholarship kids. I say they have high major, mid majors, low majors. I'm not, you know, going to get into that classification, but they have kids that can go to college for free at a particular level, right? And so, man, I'm always promoting those kids. I'm always saying, man, you need to go take a look at that kid, man. He can play here. Or they'll ask me, hey, man, I got a call from this guy. Can he play my shit, coach? You trying to get fired? He can play at your level. I mean, I'll say that about my own kids. You tell Boomer, I tell them in the gym all the time. So just because your ass 6'8", 6'7", and you know, that's a topic we're going to get into in a minute, and somebody offers you, that don't mean shit. Doesn't mean anything, son, because you can become a high major to low major overnight. Just like we know low majors. We were talking about Jalen Tyson just yesterday. I was talking to a guy to Dallas. Nobody knew who Jalen Tyson was. I know that 21 class like the back of my hand. I'd never seen the kid in my life. I had no idea who he was. We're at Texas on an unofficial, and also like, that's Jalen Tyson. I haven't seen that kid before. Blows up in November. Texas Tech offers him, commits in April. Kid nobody's heard about, right? Just blows up out of nowhere, you know. So I'm getting off topic here, but you know, I get what Ray's saying. I mean, I do. Maybe I just don't want to be the voice. Maybe that's probably a better way to put it. Maybe that's what I'm dancing around.
Yep. Well, you're busy. You got another life outside of basketball too. You know,
it's. I love helping kids, and I'm responsible, and I feel most obligated to the kids within my program. That's first and foremost. I'm not scared to say that, and that's If there's going to be a tie, damn right, my kid's going to win that tie. That's just how it works. Mm-hmm. I want to always put our kids in a position to win the tie. Now, if the other kid's better than him, then the other kid's just better than him. I drove 2 hours yesterday to Houston because there was two bigs in Houston. They said they were better than Vince. And I said, bullshit. I got in the car at 6 a.m, drove Vince to Houston. He outplayed both those kids, and we're back by 2 o'clock in the afternoon in San Antonio. Just to prove a point. Like, who else is going to do that? You have to be able to back up your product and not be scared to put them out there like that. And guess what? I told Vince, I'm your loudest critic and I'm your loudest fan. If you'd have got your ass kicked, you'd have heard my mouth for 2.5 hours on the drive home. How you got your ass kicked. Instead, man, I was happy for the kid. And I was pumping him up saying, dude, you went in there and you busted their ass. And I told everybody in the gym on the way out, I said, he came, he played, he conquered, we're out. Didn't even play the last game to held the top 20 game. He had nothing else to prove. Went in there, played those 2 games and got up out of there.
Ray, what you got?
I love it, what he just said, right? Luke, you know, you remember in hip hop a few years ago when Timberland didn't want their boots to be known from East Coast D-boys, you know, that's the branding part. When Lupe comes in and says, I'm gonna bring Vince, it means something for the brand. We can't ask the wrong people to try to brand our kids and not face the repercussions. You know, I had my event a couple weeks ago and I lost 40 teams, primarily from the Dallas area in the last week. The guys from Dallas said San Antonio's a hot spot. Take your ass to the CDC site and see who had more infections during that week, Dallas or San Antonio. But what did the media say? Vince in play. What was the wrong people saying San Antonio was hotter than Dallas? We better be careful with that. Marcus King was slept on, his bad. He went and became a legend and now getting hella paid because he didn't have the wrong people hollering his name, in my opinion.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, good point. We could go on. I think that'd be a topic we'll touch on in another time, but that was a good way to get it started. All right, let's talk early office. I've actually had some parents hit me up about that early office and all that stuff. So I know you put on that, Lupe, as well. Go ahead and you can start with that.
It is. We're in a copycat society, in a copycat world, right? And every kid that goes through every program, the reason kids sign up to play basketball, and every kid what's their dream? They want to play in the NBA, right? We got to get to college, get to the NBA, right? And so everybody wants to get an offer. Everybody wants, the whole preaching, it should be, right? If the programs that are out there that are doing this and putting kids on a platform, and you should be putting kids in front of college coaches, not playing in some bullshit. If you're a sophomore, junior, and you're not playing in an event during a live period that's not in front of college coaches, and you're wasting your time and wasting your money, find somewhere else to play. Let me just get that out of the way. Everybody wants to play in front of coaches to get an offer. Early offers is what a lot of people don't understand are just that. They don't hold no weight. They don't hold any validity, especially if you're a top 20 kid in the country, it's a different conversation. But we're talking about, and especially what you see a lot of on the boys' side, a lot of it's relationship based. I could pick up the phone right now and have a school offer a kid to keep a kid in my program. I ain't gonna do it, but I can if I wanted to as a favor. I ain't doing that shit. But some people do, and that's their MO, and that's to each their own. But when you see early offers to multiple players on a multiple team, think about it, guys. How many teammates from a high school or AAU program ever played on the same college team? Fucking unheard of. Like unheard of, right? So they're sure as hell they're gonna offer 4 or 5 kids in the same program in the same class. And if it's like an out-of-state offer, and you gotta have to say, okay, well, if Rice or Houston or UTSA or UTEP or SMU or Texas or A&M are not offering, they're regional. I mean, if you look at history and you look at all the kids that go Division I, right? Historically, it's regional first, then national. If it's real. Traditionally, it's going to be regional first, because what's every college coach say when they get a head job? I want to win my what? I want to win my area, right? I want to win Dallas. I want to win Houston. I want to win the state. I want to win locally because the kids are going to get homesick. There's so many variables that come with it, right? So those early offers are just that. A lot of times it's relationships, and it's to keep a kid, to show a parent, hey, man, I got more power than Veer does. Watch me get your kid an offer. And, everybody's happy. But at the end of the day, how much does it mean? It don't mean shit. I'm not going to name names, but we had a kid that had a high major offer as a freshman and tried to commit to that university. Oh, hey, hold on. Hey, not so fast. Let's see how you progress. Well, guess what? His route was different. Didn't end up a high major. Is at a D1 school now. Had to take an unconventional route to get there. That's how it happens. You got kids who go from low major, they become high major not overnight, but throughout time. Then you have high majors that drop off, that just don't end up that. And so you got to be kind of careful with those offers. I tell that to our kids all the time. Just because you have an offer doesn't mean shit so you can sign it in November of your senior year at the end of the day. And the other thing is, people need to realize, who are you talking to? There's very few universities out there that have an assistant or associate head coach that can offer that the head coach knows about. There's a lot of times assistants will just offer as a friend. If you're an assistant at a college, Mark, and I'll call you and say, man, I need a favor, bro. I need to just offer this kid. This kid's never going to go there. I need to offer. I got you, Luke. You're going to do it. That's human nature. That's the relationship with a business. And guess what happens? Then it becomes a copycat business. Oh, shit, I offered, Ray Caldwell, then University B is going to do it. University C is going to do it. It's a copycat world. But when it all comes down to it, and all the freaking sand gets filtered to, if you're not talking to the head coach at the university, because that's the guy who can call timeout and put your ass in the game, then you're not really being recruited. That's just a fact. The assistant coach is going to take it so long, the head coach usually goes in there and closes it. And that's who you want to be talking to as a parent. Early on, it's good and it's great for kids, but you have to understand, you have to tell your child, man, you got to keep working. Because guess what now? Especially if you get an early offer, guess what that target? You just put a target on your head. Because everyone's trying to make a name off of you. shit, Mark, you didn't deserve that offer at the University of Texas. I'm coming at your ass. Every single time I see you, I'm coming at your head, Mark. Every time, to prove that you didn't deserve that offer. So it's a catch-22, man. Some things, those things, not everybody's ready for those. I'll be honest with you. Not everyone's ready. I've known particular kids who got offers early, and unfortunately, man, it hurt them more than it helped them because they stopped working. They thought they made it, you know? So that's kind of my take on early offers. Be careful with them. Understand that it's great. That means someone's is eyeing your kid and they think he has the ability to play at that particular level. Doesn't mean he's going to end up at that level. He could end up higher. He could end up lower.
Ray?
That's good stuff, Luke. Damn good stuff. On our side, it's a little bit different. You are what you are earlier over here. So we have early offers, committable offers. I just saw something that someone bragged about their kid getting a committable offer, right? I don't get that on the girl side because our programs are so consolidated that if you offer my ninth grader and she accepts and you tell her no go, how are you ever going to come back to my program? You can't recruit us no more. So we really don't have that problem about having offers that kids can't commit to. I thought Ray Riptor Blair, bless her soul, at UTSA did a very good job when she was at UTSA offering our kids early. So you got Rasay, my oldest, Amber, Nalissa Smith, Tanea Beauclair, All-Americans top 100 kids that she offered as a 7th and 8th grader. Yes, she did not land Rasay, but she landed Carly Heineman, who graduated with Rasay. She's a 2 or 3 year starter there. Tisha Smith, who scored 1,000 points there, a Wagner grade. If she had not jumped on Rasay and Tanea and Amber early, would Carly have went there? In fact, Carly committed to her as an 8th grader. I think they work a little bit differently. When Luke says it can make you comfortable, for sure. Some kids get comfortable and it does provide a target on your back. But if you don't offer our kids early, unfortunately, because it is keeping up with the Joneses, you may not get them later. You have a lot of high academic institutions like the Rices and the Stanfords and the Dukes who can't technically offer you until you get on campus, get with an admission counselors, go through your ACTs, SATs, whatever it may be, before they can give you a final offer or a formal offer. It hurts those schools in the case of some kids when they are comparing themselves to Susie Q down the street who has multiple offers. So it's a game that has to be played. I just think it's a little bit different on the girl side, though.
I guess that admissions meeting for the boys' side probably doesn't exist for Duke, but
For
it
Duke,
might have for Duke. For Duke.
For Mike Krzyzewski, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Women's side, you still got
That's
to.
what I'm saying. For Mike Krzyzewski, that's right. He must have. He's got that admissions guy.
Funny. Good stuff. All right, next one. We've got basketball politics, or so-called basketball politics. Luke, you can take it first.
Oh man, it's a political world. It's you got to be on the right side of politics. I'm the first to tell you that. You know, if you're going to a camp and you look at the top 50, top 40, top 30, whatever it is, there's a lot of influence involved. I've been in a lot of camps of how the hell did that kid? I mean, you know what? I'm gonna bring up a point. So yesterday, a national ranking came out. And when I say the city of Dallas is in an uproar, I've never seen them in an uproar like I have yesterday, right? And it's a national site, and I looked today and they had some more movement today, which is kind of funny. I guess they went in there corrected some stuff. But it is politics, and some people just swing a bigger bat than someone else does. And that's the unfortunate side of it. And you can get on the wrong side of politics and piss somebody off and not get a vote for a McDonald's, not get a vote for a particular camp, not get invited to a particular camp, not get invited to a particular showcase tournament that could help your kids. I mean, at the end of the day, it is absolutely on the boys' side run politically. There's no question. There's a group of guys that run grassroots basketball in the state of Texas. There's a group of guys that run the high school showcase events in the state of Texas. There's a group of guys that can talk to media outlet sites, and the media outlet sites are going to listen to their opinion, what they have to say, and why they're saying it about any particular kid. And so those politics are alive, strong, and well. and always will be. And so you got to understand. Sorry, it's JJ running back.
You good?
You got to understand that, you know, if you're going to step into the higher end of the grassroots world, you better have your ass on the right side of politics. If not, your program, your kid, they're going to suffer, and it sucks, but it's the absolute truth. And it's not done maliciously. Don't get me wrong. Nobody sits there and says, man, you know, shit, I don't like the way that little fucking English guy who just walked in, Mark Beard looks, I'm going to screw his kid. It doesn't work that way. It just works like, shit, man, I don't know who Mark is, but I know I'm going to go, you know, I'm raising my boy, and he's got a kid. Shit, he's going to win that tie. Ray's kid's going to win that tie because of a relationship. It's a relationship business that plays into politics. So you call it politics, you call it relationships, you call it whatever you like. You might not like it, but it's a fact. And so you can sit there and be mad about it, argue about it, not like myself or Ray or you or whomever who could be on the right side of politics. Man, maybe you're talking to the wrong people you're looking for the right results, talking to the wrong people.
So add on with that, Luke, because I heard what you said. Do you think that's why you are pushing a media outlet in San Antonio for maybe that purpose? Because I guess they got to come through you, right? Is that what we're saying?
Nah, it didn't come out of my mouth, Mark. I see where you're trying to push it, Mark. Goddamn, that's not coming out of my mouth. I'm saying is that there's particular voices. I was just texting Corey Evans earlier today, right? He's going to respond back. We talk about kids, right? I don't, in contrary to what people believe, I don't push our particular kids. We just speak in general, right? But at the end of the day, if we're at an event, guess what? Corey's going to have his eyes on my kids. I'm not telling him where to fucking rank them, but I tell you what, you're playing and I'm playing, guess who he's going to come watch? He can come watch me before he watches you. That's all I want. A fair shot to get an attention of somebody who matters. Now, it's our kids' job between the lines to produce. They don't freaking produce. That's their fucking fault, not mine. I've done all I can do. Booman's done all he can do. He skills them up, gets them ready. We coach them up. We put them between the lines and let the results lie where the results lie, and the people on the sidelines that make the decision based upon what they feel those kids did between the lines. It's my job to make sure I get the right eyes on those kids. That's what I can do. I can pick up the phone and get the right eyes on those kids. Then they will determine where they feel those kids are, whether it's a national ranking site, whether it's colleges, whatever it could be.
Ray, I'm guessing it's different on the girls?
Not so much.
Okay.
Not so much. You definitely got what I call the queen makers. I don't look at it.
What you call them? The queen makers? I like that.
I look at it as more so platforms than politics. You know, getting on the right platforms. Sometimes if you're really talking politics, the best candidate wouldn't be Republicans or Democrats. It could be a libertarian. It could be a Green Party candidate. It could be an independent. But if you're not on those platforms, you're not going to get in the White House, right? So I agree to a certain extent about the queen makers. But at the end of the day, does it really matter? Because if Austin Nunez doesn't play for his dad, who has a terrific platform, yes, he may not be ranked 10 spots as high as he should be, but is it going to stop him from being D1? And I really love the guy side in this because there's so much money involved at the NBA level that if you are Jimmy Butler, if you are Dame Lillard, if you are CJ McCollum, it don't matter where you were ranked, what school you go to, a billionaire is going to give you that bag to add to their value. So to me, it does not matter at the end of things. You know, back here on my shelf, I got a McDonald's bar with my oldest, and don't get me wrong, it was a privilege and she's blessed, but she don't use it. She don't wear her McDonald's stuff. She can't tell you where any of her McDonald's gear is because she gets, at the end of the day, the education is what matters. I think it's a excuse from a lot of parents and inferior club programs always hollering politics. Again, I'm not on the guy's side, but when I saw Jordan Clarkson when I came here, it was Rohawks. Andre Robertson was Rohawks. No shoe deals. They papered up. So to me, it's easy to claim that Austin or Vince is in the positions that they're in because of politics, or Amber Ramirez because of politics. The cream gonna rise to the top. And at the next level, your resume is gonna go ahead and tell on yourself. Go back and look at all these guys that are hollering, it was politics that my daughter didn't do this. For the most part, their game should be speaking for themselves compared to the ones that were the benefit of politics at the next level, if that was the case.
Great point, Ray. I mean, I agree. The only thing I guess we agree to disagree is you can't get on the platform without having some meaning. To get to the platform, you got to be able to be politically correct to get yourself into that platform. But now you're right, Ray. At the end of the day, man, when you step on that campus, all that rankings, all the hype, all the politics, throw that shit to the trash, because there's a lot of jobs, a lot of money on the line, especially on the boys' side. The average salary of a Division I coach is probably $1 point some million, and some make as much as $4 million. So it's a freaking business, right? So they don't give two shits what I have to say, what Ray has to say, what Mark has to say. At the end of the day, if you can help that guy keep his job, shit, you good. And if you can't, you got to keep moving, because guess what? They're bringing somebody else in. You know, so you're right about that, Ray. It's a good point. Very good point.
Mark, let me jump in real quick.
Yep.
Here's another things that we don't think about with politics. And Luke talked about it earlier with early offers. You get a lot of these kids that are burnt out early. If you've been ranked since you've been 7th and 8th grade, and you getting all this love when you're young, you get on campus where the rigors go to another level, and you like, damn, I done sat school, middle school, live chasing basketball. It's not so much that you were overranked or you were just the benefit, you benefited from politics. It's you're burnt out. So you take a Japreece Dean. She was a top 100 kid, ESPN. She was a WNBA draft pick. She's constantly hitting me. I mean, 2 days ago, Coach, when can we get in the gym? She's a gym rat. So when I coached her over at Tech, she's the kid that's calling me at 11 at night. She was on campus with kids that were ranked higher than her, that were better than her as juniors. She just kept going in the marathon, where they finally had an opportunity to date. They finally had an opportunity to not be in the gym because of expectations, daddy, or whatever it may be. So again, going back to politics, I think it's a catch-all. She was overrated because of the politics. No, she just got burned out in life.
Good, really good point, Ray. Really good point.
All right, let's end on this. So a few questions from some parents and other basketball people that sent to me. I actually going to take the first one. I'll take the first one, and then y'all can add to it. It's what are your biggest frustrations with today's players? This is a big topic. I just put down 5 points that I had come to mind earlier, and y'all are more than welcome to elaborate or add your own. A lot of people say that kids don't work as hard as they used to. I'm not even going to go down that route, okay? Because that's just, some kids work really hard and some don't. I think that's just always going to be the same, but I'll touch on some things later. What I put on here is that I think every kid wants to be elite, but they actually don't understand the time, effort, and sacrifices it takes. A lot of people will, for the kids that I train, a lot of parents will ask me, well, dang, how did that kid get so good? There's not so much science to this. You just even touched on it, Ray, gym rat. Right? It's a lifestyle that they may not go out with their buddies at late at night to the movies or go to Top Golf, whatever it is that they do. Their sacrifices, they're going to stay in the gym. To me, if you want to be elite, you got to understand what it means to be elite. I think a lot of kids don't. That's my personal opinion. They just think that they can work out maybe once, twice a week, maybe go work out with some good kids, and it kind of stops there. They also don't understand the sacrifices with getting in the gym and taking care of your body and eating right. I had a conversation with Langston today, and it was funny how he concentrates on his diet. Like, how many kids are really focused on the way they eat today? They don't, So that was number one. Another thing I said is that every kid that plays, not every kid, but a lot of kids want to be that guy or girl. They don't understand their role. My point would be this is and both of y'all can probably relate to this, they could probably be a better player on another team. Right? So they were like, okay, I'm going to leave because I want to go get all the shots. I want to play all the whole time, but they don't understand their role. And you've said it before, Lupe. Are people really going to recruit you to let you go shoot 30 shots a game? Probably not, right? Unless you're a McDonald's All-American, that type kid. But I'm talking to the mass. I'm not talking about necessarily just the 5-10% that we have. I'm just generalizing with all these, parents that are asking these type of questions, is you have to understand what your kid is good at and how they can see the floor. And that may not be taking 20, 30 shots a game over dribbling and doing those type things. So I think parents don't understand, and maybe kids don't understand how they can best help their high school, their AAU Euro program, whatever. That was one thing I had. Another thing is the lack of IQ. Me being from Europe, it's a little different. We teach a lot different growing up, and I don't think kids study the game. I asked so many kids, "Oh, did you watch the game last night?" You know what they're talking about? Highlights. I don't give a shit about. I don't care about highlights. I always tell players, go watch your player for 5 minutes. Just go watch, like, if you like Kemba Walker, you like Kyrie, just watch them for 5 minutes. Don't, I think a lot of kids watch the game as fans. I always make the analogy with my wife. My wife screams at the TV. Camille is yelling at referees and this and that. Whatever. It's not really understanding the game. I don't think kids understand the game. The lack of IQ, that they don't study. And I'm not talking about in the gym. I'm talking when you're outside of the gym. I added that. That adds to keeping the game simple. I think y'all can relate to this a lot, is the over dribbling, the crazy training, the throwing the cones, the tennis balls and all that stuff. Just stuff that it's okay if you want to use it as warm-ups and those type things. But, parents, I think, get wrapped up in, wow, that looks really cool, right? Okay, but does it translate to the game? Can you even do a dribble pull-up? Do you have good footwork? How's your pivot game? Those type things. How's your form? I think we get away from that, getting back to just the basic purity of basketball. Maybe social media doesn't help. I don't know, maybe all these highlight stuff that they watch, they want to kind of grow into that. And then the last thing, which I think is the biggest, kids don't play enough. I'm talking about pickup games, like going to go play and just go hoop. Kids may be super skilled and that's all they focus on. And they get in the game and then they can't handle pressure, right? I would like kids to just go play. I don't know. I want to ask you guys on this too. Is that gyms are not available enough? I know you guys have runs all the time. I'm talking before COVID. I opened up the factory every summer for open gym for the younger ones. It was packed with 50, 60 kids just hooping. They would come in. I remember the first week, what are we doing? This is open gym. Okay, what do we do? Do y'all put us in teams? I'm like, yo, just go hoop. They're like, huh? Like, it kind of hit me like kids just don't know how to just go play in a pickup game and just get better and kind of figure stuff out without being coached. So those are 5 things that I put down. There's obviously more. You're more than welcome to elaborate, but I wanted to touch on that one as our first question because I thought it was a good one. So anyone, y'all go ahead.
You mind if I go, Ray?
Go ahead, bro.
Tough. And it correlates into a lot of different things. I mean, I saying the problem with kids today is tough. And I'm not saying, Mark, I'm going to go push you and punch you in the mouth if you found me tough. And it's going into everything you just talked about. Tough meaning, man, am I going to push myself in the gym? How hard am I going to push myself, right? Am I going to go put myself in an environment to make me uncomfortable? That's the problem with the kids today. They don't like to be uncomfortable. They want to go in a comfortable setting. They want to go to your gym, Mark, and your runs because they only know you. They don't want to come in my gym because me and Boo Man are there cussing everybody out and yelling and screaming and all. Hell no, so I ain't gonna do. These are crazy, right? That's tough. You got to go put yourself in a spot to become uncomfortable. So go put yourself in front of somebody. If you're the best person in the gym, find another gym. Lucas says that shit all the time. That's the truth. So go put yourself in a position where you're going to not always be successful, but you got to fail, right? That's tough. Put yourself in a spot where that kid, you're putting your child in a position to fail, and that's how you're going to test them, man. Is you're going to want to call Mark, man, I need to get in that gym 3 days a week now, not just one. And I'm going to go work on some stuff the other 2 days outside of my house. But that doesn't happen if I just stay in my comfort zone and go straight to Mark Veer and I'm going to go do my drills and, I'm going to go play on a weekend tournament, whatever, in San Antonio, and we're winning and we got trophies and everybody's happy. And then all of a sudden you're wondering, well, how come this kid's getting offers and my kid's not? My kid's just as good. No, because your kid's never given outside his comfort zone because you're too scared to allow him to be tough. You want to baby him. You want to put him in situations where you can't fail. I can't tell you how many situations I put my own kid in. We put him in on 16s and 8th grader and 17s and freshman. We knew his ass was going to get drilled. But he's not where he's at today if you don't allow him to fail. You have to allow these kids to fail. And with that comes toughness. If you keep babying and put them in positions that they're going to be successful, just here you go, cater them, that's the problem with the kids today, is they're not tough enough to become uncomfortable.
I agree. And I want to add this to because I know your tweet. I saw it. I totally agree with it, liked it. But I want you to talk about the kids that have no business in your run. And I'm calling it your run because you had a nice run. A lot of good kids, right? I know some UTSA players, some college, some ex-pro. And then I saw kids getting – and I talked to X. He'd tell me this kid was in the gym, this kid. So what y'all were doing, the environment was working because you were getting more talent, different talent every single day y'all were doing it. But what about the kid that is not ready for that? Do you want them to come up to your gym and get a taste and stay? Or you want them to go find something that's comparable to their game? Not, they still don't want to be the best player in the gym, but where do they go to find a run that's best suited for their level?
It's a great point. You got to start at the top and figure out where you're at. I think we have the best runs in the city. So you come to our gym, you'll find out real quick what your level's at. You know, and you can't be scared to ask. You can't be scared, hey, coach, how come you don't put me back in? Because I'll be honest with you. I'll see them run one time and they're screwing the game. I say, yeah, I just can't get back in there no more, bro. You got to go sit down. I don't have time for all that. I just not at that moment, right? And once again, that's toughness, right? So the kids got to go to the parent, man, like, that dude yelling over there won't let me play anymore. Won't come to ask me, how come I can't play? So you're not good enough. Well, how can I get better? Well, you know what? Come on Tuesday and Thursdays and get here at 4 o'clock and go through some drills and go through the process that it takes to get to this level. But again, that's toughness. You can't be scared to ask. You know, you can't be scared to ask. You can't just go in there, get your ass kicked, and I don't put you back on the team and you leave and you never come back again. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. That's how you find out. You have to start at the top and figure out where you're at. We have some kids in there that go in our gym that did get their ass kicked, that have been coming to workouts now. They go at 4 o'clock and they get to do that run at 5 o'clock. You don't do the drills, you don't do the run. That's kind of the rule in our gym. You don't go you can't just show up to play unless we're just specifically having an open run for that particular, which is very rare. But you have to go through the drills before you can play.
Ray?
Again, you know, that gym is on another level over there at Alamo with hard work. I think we kind of do something similar. We'll come back with the players and bring back guys. You know, I think we were raised kind of different, though. I mean, everybody's not a CEO. So, yeah, I may not be the best on the court, but what is my role on this court? And trying to figure it out. I agree with Luke wholeheartedly with the toughness. I always say kids are different these days, Mark, because we have parents that worship their kids. Like when we grew up, and I know I wasn't raised right? My mom did the best she could. But at some point, I was going to get chased home because I knew I couldn't come from the chest against this opponent. And when I got chased home, I couldn't come in the house. We're going to shut this door. You're going to go handle your business. You're going to take that beating. Now, she's going to look through the window and make sure it doesn't get out of hand, but you're going to learn to take one. You're going to learn to be tough. It was no different on the playground. You ever played with a bully? We all have. And you ain't passed it to him when he wanted it? Or he scratched your name off the top of the list when it was your turn next? So when you're talking conflict resolution, the problem is we've raised these kids on this platform. So all our validation comes from how many tweets and likes and views of me videoing my daughter gets. That's the problem. And COVID is getting ready to kill female basketball because all these young females that thought they loved the game, they were only doing it for likes and views. They've had time to go to the movies. They've had time to kick it with their family. Now it's like, damn, my feet don't hurt. My knees don't hurt. My back don't hurt. I don't have a strawberry under my eye from getting rebounded and this bald-head idiot over there yelling, get tough. So now I can go get me a job. So I think what's going on now is getting ready really to cripple girls basketball because these young women, going back to your initial question, are doing it for the likes and the approval of their parents who worship their ass.
Oh, that's a good one, Ray.
I agree. I'm a parent now, so I try to stay away from that, talking about how to parent. You know, me and my wife argue a lot. You know, I'm trying to toughen up a 5-year-old. You know, that's what I'm struggling with. But I'm trying to start a foundation young. You know, we're talking about, and you know, Lupe, you always make fun about me with soccer, but I'm getting into a whole different world with soccer. Different. I put a tweet out there about the 3-on-3, that play on 3-on-3. I'm a big 3-on-3 guy, you know, but I played a lot of soccer growing up. But, you know, I heard about a soccer academy on the South Side with a bunch of kids that don't speak English. You know what I'm thinking? Let's go.
That's where he needs to be. That's
right?
where he needs to be.
Guess what Mama's saying? Can we go check it out first? No. Because if we go check it out first, we're going to find reasons to what? Not put him in. You're on the negative side, right? So I'm like, nah, me and him are going to go. I'm going to drop him off and in a safe environment. I know it's safe because I've heard from someone else, and let him survive. Don't figure it out, right? At a young age. I told a story to many people. I don't know if y'all heard this. So what my dad did with me and my brother back in Brixton in London, a pretty rough side of town. He sends me to a gym, just like the factory, 2 courts. He knew the guy that run the Jimmy Rogers, big guy in England, rest in peace, my man. But we went there young. I can't remember our age, 9 or 10. He dropped us at the gym, 2 white kids. And my hair was bleached blonde back then, almost white, skinny little kids. Y'all figure it out, have a good time, and left us there for 2 hours. We were like the dudes in our little town, little place in Hampton. We were pretty nice. Go there, forget about it. Come up with a crossover, get picked right away. I'm looking at him like, yo, what? Just, it changed our entire mentality of where we're at. To your point, you got to go to the best gym. We get back on the subway. My dad already knew, right? How'd it go? He already knew. He set us up to fail. You guys gonna get your ass handed to you. And he said, you know what me and my brother want to do? I don't want to go back. Yeah, okay. Well, I've signed you up for the next 2 months. I already paid for it, whatever. Boom, we had to figure it out. I tell you, that made us, and I'm still talking about it now. What are we, almost 25, 30 years ago, still talking about it. So I agree with you, Ray. We've got to make these kids, get them uncomfortable, get them in situations. I just don't think we have enough opportunities in San Antonio, because not everybody, you both said it, not everybody is ready for the environment y'all have, right? So not everybody can play in SA Finest. Not everybody can go to Texas Hard Works gym. So how do we go about having more open gyms with similar environments, but not the talent? Because we don't. I always tell, I don't know if it's 5%, 10% is the elite. That's it. The elite, the 5-10% can play in your gyms in San Antonio. What about the other, whatever percent it is that plays basketball in San Antonio? What do we do? Because I know parents have asked me. I don't know the answer. I think we got to have more open gyms. We got the right people running them. How do we do that? Any ideas?
You know, I mean, you take programs that have similar type of talent and you communicate with each other, right? But once again, it's, you know, we've touched on this before. It's an ego thing, right? So Coach A's got to call Coach B, knowing that they're on the same level, and say, hey man, let's call this other coach and let's get our kids together. We do my gym on Tuesday, your gym on Thursday, his gym on Saturday. That's how you do it. I mean, it's not difficult. It's is Coach A, B, and C. I'll put this politically correct. Have enough self-awareness, not self-awareness, but you know, don't have no insecurities to say, right, man, if I take my kids into Mark's gym, is he going to steal my kids? That's the biggest freaking problem. One of the problems. Like, everybody's scared they're going to steal each other's kids. Like, goddamn, man, if you're doing your damn job, the kid ain't going to go anywhere. Let's just, come on, man, chill with that. So if you're really about the kids and you want to get some really good bump for the kids that are on that level, then there's nothing wrong with picking up the phone and saying, hey man, bring your best kids over here. You know, Jordan Woods not a Texas Hard Work kid. He's in our gym all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, that's where he's at. It's Vasse's kid. He's in our gym. Like, shit, Vasse's my boy. I wasn't going to go there try to steal the kid from Vasse. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where you have to just drop your insecurities and be okay. If you're in it for the betterment of the kids, if you're not, then you're full of shit.
Yeah. Is it like that on the girl side? Not with you, Ray, at your finest open runs, but do you know of what Lupe's talking about, the middle tier, whatever you want to call it? Do they communicate to start open runs and that? I need to talk to Devon. I know he's tried to get some other kids to just come play with him, but I don't think he's having much success.
Yeah, I used to be the middle tier. So we used to open up a Body President's Lutheran Church hot gym, call Kevin Leonard, who's now the high school coach at Jay, who ran a club at that time, Tim Calvin, who ran the Church Jaguars, and we just opened up. We coaches sat over there and chopped it up and just let the kids hoop. So I haven't done that in a while. Why are we looking at Luke? Why are we looking at me? Right? We're private businesses. Taxpayer dollars pay for the high schools. Why aren't the high schools doing this? If you're Clemens, and let me not even say a name because I don't want to disrespect anybody, but if there's a neighborhood high school a couple miles away, why wouldn't you say on this week, we're going to open it up and let the kids burn? The taxpayers' dollars are paying for the damn lights and the air conditioning anyway, and we can keep these kids off these goddamn social media outlets and let them go burn. Why are we waiting on Lupe or Finest to do it when they are community leaders and they should be doing it, yet you looking down on us for not providing more of those opportunities? This shit is backwards.
I agree. I totally agree. We talked about it too. I thought when I first moved there, I swear more high schools were open running open gyms.
They
Am I
were.
off
They
on
were.
that?
Brack.
They were,
Brack.
right?
No. Brack. Yeah, Brack was the place. Brack had an open gym. I think it was Sunday. Sundays they'd open the gym at Brack, and that was kind of where all the runs were at. And then the Incarnate Word Rec Center, was kind of where all the runs were at. And Bowman had it going there at Full Life, which is now that Golds off Callahan and Babcock.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right, man. I mean, I got here in 1994, Central Catholic, the old Central gym. There was runs, Holy Cross, and you're right. I mean, I can't remember one time where Austin says, "Hey, man, we're gonna go play pickup at this high school." I mean, honestly, I think maybe Wagner, they went last year, if maybe I can remember correctly. They did some open runs there, but I hadn't even thought about that, Ray. But that's a very valid point, and you're right. I mean, us growing up, I remember everybody. You went to the gyms in Corpus and you just played pickup. I mean, that's either at the park or you went and played at the high schools, and the high school coaches would open the gym. There was always a high school in a major city. I think what's happened probably, I don't know if it's the liability aspect of it, or, I don't want to say coaches are lazy. I'm not going to come out and say that, but there's got to be some reason behind it, because it's now seems like I don't know any high school that has an open run that you can say, hey man, every Tuesday, Thursday during the school year, during football season, everyone's going over there to hoop at 6 o'clock, and from 6 to 8, that's the place to play. I don't know one personally. Maybe I'm not in the loop of it, but I mean, I've never heard one of my hard work kids ever say, we're going to go to an open run at this particular high school.
Don't they have one at Lancaster? I heard they have one at Lancaster.
Shit, they might, bro. I don't know. I'm not sure. They might. I'm sure.
I heard everybody go. That's what I heard. I don't know the fact behind it, but that's like the place to be.
Could be. I could see that.
Okay. Well, I think that's. I'm gonna start talking to high school coaches, because I think we all agree that kids are just not tough enough, not playing enough. Right? A pretty true statement. That's something that I agree. You say, Ray, it's not we shouldn't be spearheading it, but ain't no head coach going to be calling us tomorrow saying, hey, y'all set up a run, let's open a gym. I don't see it happening. So I think I'm actually going to push something for San Antonio basketball to maybe do that. We're going to close it right at 3. Appreciate you two for hopping on. Any topics you guys want, continue to hit us up, and we'll do that. And we're going to try to do this hopefully pretty consistently. I enjoy doing it with you guys. I think it's a great information. Again, we'll put on YouTube and all that good stuff. You guys want to add anything to close?
Appreciate you. Good luck, Luke.
All right.
Good luck, man. Appreciate y'all. Y'all stay safe.
All right, you too. Bye.